Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Chillie Chats with Jason Garland. We're going to be talking about the Carnival Panorama today. Live a couple minutes early, so I'll let everybody catch up, and it'll be a good time for me to stick a commercial break in before we bring Jason on board. So let's get a word from Zuiderdam in, and then we'll get started. Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Zuiderdam. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Zuiderdam for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise. All right, got that out of the way, and welcome to Tom Henry and to Gretchen, who are in the audience already. Many of you know that we tried to do this a couple weeks ago when I was on the Zuiderdam and Jason was on the Panorama. We tried to do a ship-to-ship thing, and then he was at shore at Cabo, and my signal just was awful. And it was just terrible, plus a 5-second delay. I'd say something and it'd be 5 seconds before he'd hear it. He'd answer me back and it'd be 5 seconds before I'd hear it. It was just terrible. So that didn't work out very well. So anyway, without any further ado, let me bring on board Jason Garland in Pittsburgh.
Hey, Chillie.
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
It's a cloudy day here in Pittsburgh, which it usually is. The sun does not come out much, so.
Well, it's cold down here in Virginia, too.
Really?
It was down in the 20s last night. It's going down to like in the teens tonight, which sucks. But anyway. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the Carnival Panorama. What was your overall impression of the Panorama?
Well, I've been on about 12 cruises now. I did not plan this cruise, believe it or not. My wife was looking up cruises, which she always does, and found the Panorama 14 months ago before it was even built and booked it. And I wasn't even listening to her. She's like, I want to go on this cruise. I'm like, okay, whatever. And the next day I find out she booked it out of California. Now that's a long flight. I've never sailed out of California. Yeah. But we booked our flight. The price was pretty good. I mean, I was actually looking at the price of what it was a month before we went, and it was double what we paid. So it pays to book early. That's one thing I always say. And we got a pretty decent price on our flight. And we have family out there, so it was pretty easy to fly in the day before and take a day after to chill and then fly back. So it was a good experience traveling. I mean, we got on the ship around 1 o'clock. I'm a platinum member, so I'm not sure how bad the lines would have been later in the day, but I expect probably a little bit worse. But we got right on the ship. Our room was ready immediately. So the first day was pretty great.
And you sailed from Los Angeles. And
right.
your first port of call was Cabo.
Yeah, so there's actually 2 sea days leading up to that, I believe. Right. The weather was pretty good going down from Los Angeles to Cabo the first 2 days. I didn't experience any lines at all. I mean, with respect to the food and the bars and everything, those first 2 days were pretty good. When we got to Cabo, it was like 75, 80 degrees, pretty nice weather. Cabo was nice. We took a day pass for a resort, daypass.com or whatever, a resort for a day. I highly suggest that. I mean, it was like $100 per person to get in the Rio Palace. We took a taxi, which it was a little bit sketchy. They didn't really like us doing that, and we just went out in the port and took the taxi for $15 and got there. We got off in the first tender because we're platinum. So we were there at 9 a.m. We spent the whole day there. It was beautiful. I mean, it was definitely worth what we paid. And everything was included. That's where I was trying to do the chat with you.
Right.
But
it looked gorgeous.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I mean, don't obviously don't travel alone or go too late, because we got out real early and got back around 2:33 to the ship, because we like to be there at least 2 hours before it sails. I've heard horror stories about that, but because, and especially because it was our first time there, we weren't really that comfortable with the port. So, but it worked out great.
All right. Before we go on to Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta, let's talk a little bit about the boat. Now, the Panorama is new, which is a benefit. I was on first the Zuiderdam, which is a much smaller ship, and then on the Carnival Sunrise, which is a very comparable ship. I was actually thinking your Panorama was much bigger, but it's not. They're pretty close in size.
Yeah, I think the max capacity is 4,000 plus 4,100, 4,100 on the Panorama. It's like 3,000 some on the Sunrise. So it's not that much more. I mean, like I said, I've been on the Triumph 3 times, and that was the ship that was remodeled. And I'm actually a big fan of that ship. I like the way the Lido deck's designed with the decking. I don't like the way the Vista ships are designed with all those chairs on the bottom deck, and you have to, it's like 20 chairs in a row, you know?
Right.
I was not a fan of that, but overall, I loved the ship. It was very clean, secure. Everyone was really, really nice. I mean, the staff was great. The food was maybe 7 out of 10. I don't know how to rate that, but I mean, it was good. It was a good experience. It was a little chilly on the way back, but for the most part, I probably wouldn't go on it again too soon, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah. The one of the problems I had with the Sunrise, as we've chatted about before, I found the layout of the Sunrise to be a little bit confusing, because you've got 3 banks of elevators, but to get anywhere, you have to go through the casino, which is smoking.
Yeah.
And it's not very well ventilated. And me, as a non-smoker for the last 4.5 years, that bothered me. It really did.
Yeah. Right.
And you had to go through there. I mean, I had to go through the casino probably 10 times a day as I was motoring around the ship. But the Panorama, you can avoid that.
Yeah, on the Panorama, like those Vista class ships, there's ways to get around the casino. You can go out on the lanai before it and go around, go through Guy's, Pig and Anchor, or go down to 4 and go through the theater. However you want to do it. I mean, you know, it's a bigger ship.
Right.
It's designed better. Clearly, they're going to design the ship better than the past to make sure things are working better. But you said you've never been on a Vista class or Dream class ship, and I think you should try it. I think that you'd be surprised, even though there's that 1,000 more people in there. It's actually not as crowded sometimes. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, I clearly will, you know, at some point. All right, food-wise, did you eat in the main dining room most of the time?
So when we go on cruises, we look at the menu and we make a decision. Hey, are we going to go to the dining room, or are we going to do something else? And Jen's pretty picky. So, I mean, we're vegetarians, which you probably didn't even know. But the thing about Carnival is they have tons of good vegetarian options. Actually, we eat fish, so pescatarian. But the dining room options are pretty good for the most part. For anybody, I mean, I would say that our favorite restaurant was the El Capitan, the Italian restaurant, because you can go there for lunch. And we went there 3 times for lunch, and it's free. The pasta is really, really good. It's made right to order. You can just check off whatever you want, and it's delivered within like 5 minutes, and it's delicious. I would highly recommend that. That was probably our favorite.
Okay.
Also, one other thing. There's a lot of people saying the Lido Marketplace is garbage. It's not. It's actually really good. The food was fresh the whole time. I went up there for dinner a couple of nights instead of the dining room, and they had literally almost everything you could get in the dining room just there, pick up, and it was great. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Lido Marketplace.
The only problem I had with Lido Marketplace on the Sunrise toward the end of the cruise, the temperature seemed to drop on the food.
Really?
The first couple of days it was, served hot, and the last couple of days, I generally only do breakfast at the marketplace, but it was pretty cold. But quality wise, I like the marketplace too. I on the Sunrise, because of the two ladies that were at my table, I did dinner in the main dining room every night because they were a delight. And where, little dinner conversation is always great. These two gals were just fun to be with. And quite often I wouldn't even remember to take pictures of what I was eating, which I try to do anyway for my website and stuff, because the conversation was so good. So
yeah, I saw you did a video chat with her. That was pretty cool. She seemed really nice.
Yeah. And then the other gal was actually in my age group, a little younger than me, but she was a widower, and it was just a great conversation. So that part of it I really enjoyed. So I guess I can't very well ask you if you ate at Guy's Burger Joint, because that's I don't think there was a vegetarian.
So here's how
maybe there was.
No, so if you want to do a veggie burger on the Carnival cruise ship, you go to the deli and they actually will prepare it for you. Yeah. And you can take it over there and do it Guy's way. I mean, we're not vegans, so cheese is all good. But the fries are amazing, and it's almost, it's pretty close to what you would get if it's Guy's. I mean, but it's just good that you can actually go to the deli and actually request that, and it's there. And there's probably a lot of vegetarians on these ships that don't know any of this stuff.
I was very happy with the deli. I did that several times.
The deli is one of the best.
Yeah. Okay. So you got to, after Cabo, you went to Mazatlan next, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Did you do an excursion in Mazatlan?
So we got off the ship a little bit later than we normally do. We like to be the first ones off, but we decided to go to Stone Island, which was very nice. We actually walked there. One of your videos actually showed us how to do it, which was really cool. There's quite a few of them out there. But we met a couple that were like, "Are you going to Stone Island?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, you're adventurous like us." And there was just four of us just walking down in Mazatlan down to the little skiff, and we got on it for like $4. Yeah. Went over. It was like 9 a.m. We're the first ones there, just walking down the beach. And it was a beautiful day. I can't remember the name of the restaurant we went to, but we just sat down and had a couple beers for a couple dollars and some lunch, chilled, and just walked down the beach. It was very nice.
Yeah. And then Puerto Vallarta. One of my favorite stories about Puerto Vallarta, back in the day, my first time I was on that cruise, I went to up on the mountain where Liz Taylor and Richard Burton had two houses.
Oh, really?
And they built a bridge. This was back in the day. They built a bridge from Liz Taylor's house over to Richard Burton's house across the road. And I had a cab driver, I think, and we went up to. I went up and knocked on Liz Taylor's door to see if she was there. Talked to her housekeeper. Of course, she wasn't, but I had to try it anyway. So, I mean, that's how long ago that was. Liz Taylor's still living there. So, I think the first time I was there was maybe 79 or 80. And it's the same cruise, out of LA, that does Cabo, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta. So, Puerto Vallarta was, it's been pretty sketchy the last couple of years. Is it cleaned up any?
Well, here's the thing. So we used to never do Carnival excursions, and we started listening to all these cruise influencers. Oh, if you take a Carnival excursion, you'll be safe and all that. So we booked the Whale Watch with Carnival. When we got to Puerto Vallarta in the morning, it looked horrible. There was clouds everywhere. There was rain in the distance. And in fact, we got off on time, we met up with everyone, and our tour guide said, you know what, it's going to be bad weather all day. If you want to cancel, we'll refund you. About 20 people walked out of the line out of the 50 that were there.
Wow.
Believe it, I couldn't believe it. Me and Jen are like, we don't care if it rains on us. We're going to go see whales. It's fine. So we were actually, and this is funny, we were delayed by a Holland America ship because they were late. So the catamaran couldn't come around because the Rotterdam was not docked properly. The guy's yelling, the tour guide's yelling at the people on the Rotterdam. It was hilarious. But we got on there like maybe 30 minutes late, and the guy's just flooring it down to Marianas Island. I mean, the ship is just, it was a good time, though. I mean, we got there and we saw plenty of whales. It was amazing.
Nice.
I would definitely do that again. You saw the video of the baby whale breaching. Yeah. It was great. I would definitely suggest that.
Okay. Well, I've done that cruise a couple times in the past, and I probably would do it again too. I'm starting to look at cruises now for the next 6 or 8 months. I think we're going to find some really bargains out there.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some good deals coming up because people are freaking out about
the Asian market. Yeah, you got all those extra rooms now that are going to be shuffled around. And I think there's going to be a lot of people canceling out on cruises, and a lot. I think they're, especially if you can travel on a short-term basis, watch something and sail within a month or something like that. I think there's just going to be some steals. So, matter of fact, I'm tracking a couple cruises now that I'd like to do. So we'll see. But I think we might have that. There's the dogs. See, we knew that they had to talk. They had to get involved in this somehow. What kind of dogs are they?
They are a lab husky mix and a lab hound mix. So they're mixes. Yep, they look almost identical. All right, guys. All right.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm an animal person, so I don't mind a little interruption from the dogs. So,
how was the Zuiderdam? If you don't mind.
Well, all right. I tell you what. The only thing that I had against the Sunrise was the smoking filled casino and having to go through it all the time. Other than that, it's a little on the crowded side for my taste, but still, it was a great cruise. The food was good. There was nothing wrong with the food. The Zuiderdam was 3 or 4 steps better. The meals were fabulous. Every meal was just unbelievable. I was on this ship for 21 meals. 20 of them I would rate as a 9.5 or 10 out of 10. The one that wasn't, I had salmon one night, was a little dry. But it was still good. It was still edible. I mean, it wasn't anything that I could really complain about. It was just a little dry for my taste. But the meals were fabulous. The entertainment was there's not as many venues as on like the Panorama or the Sunrise. But what they had, I thought, was just as good. The main showroom shows were very comparable with the quality of the show, the lighting, the effects were very comparable. I actually liked the comedians on the Zuiderdam better than the comedians on the Sunrise. I thoroughly enjoyed the Zuiderdam's comedians. The BB King's Jazz Club, which was every night, was an awesome place to go to have a drink and listen to a little music. Of course, I can't get up and dance anymore, or I would have been in there dancing with everybody. Of course, I didn't do the late night clubs. That's
we don't really stay up too late. We're early risers, so
So, but I love the Zuiderdam. Holland America, probably I would jump them over Carnival in my list of favorites. I really enjoyed that cruise. I had heard from a number of people, Bonnie included. By the way, Bonnie's with us now too. Hey, Bonnie, I see that you're here. Bonnie is one that's big on Holland American, and I loved it. Matter of fact, I'm looking for one of the ships that I'm looking to do next is another Holland American. I'd like to do the Koningsdam. So that's one of the ones I'm tracking right now. Possibly doing an Alaska cruise too, and there's some Holland Americas up there. The one problem I have with Holland America is, and I have the same problem with Carnival, is if you're a solo traveler like I am, it's not the best bargains in the world for solo.
Yeah.
But for normal couples prices, it's fabulous. But I highly recommend the Zuiderdam. Good ship, and staff-wise, probably the best staff of any cruise I've ever been on. Of all my, I don't know how many, 40-some that I've done in my lifetime. As good a staff as I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And it was little things like the maitre d' in the restaurant. It's one thing for the maitre d' to be friendly, but after the first meal, he knew my name. Now, yeah, my name's a little unusual, so I can appreciate that some. But now this is a maitre d', and there's 1,800 people that are eating in this restaurant. And I wasn't the only one. He knew their name. I mean, he'd call off people's names constantly as you were going in. But he took excellent care of you. The same with, there were several of the bartenders that knew my name, and within an hour I was on the ship. Of course, the room steward, you expect that. But there was just an excellent staff. And again, on the Sunrise, I was very pleased with the staff there too. Both of them are excellent with their disembarkation procedures. I mean, we were off the ships just easily, both places. Of course, it's always a pain in the butt to get on a ship because you got to stand in line. But yeah,
sometimes,
yeah, sometimes. Well, you're Platinum can get around that. I get around it too with some of my ratings,
right?
And also the fact that I'm usually wheelchair service to get on. So, but anyway, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the Panorama, and I will put that on my list as a ship to try. Again, I don't have the only thing that I had against the Sunrise, which is a similar ship. Was the smoking casino that I had to walk through, and if I could get around doing that, I would. The ship itself, I liked. I had enjoyed everything about it. So, anyway, well, Mr. Jason, thank you very much. I'm glad we finally got to do this and have some decent quality and a nice little chat. So. All right, that's going to wrap us up for today. Jason, thank you very much for being with us. This has been Jason Garland from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. By the way, whereabouts do you live in Pittsburgh?
Downtown almost. Well, the north side, right?
Close to north side.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in Munhall Gardens for about 20 years, back up above Kennywood Park.
Yeah, I know that.
I was in Pittsburgh a long time. So that was before I came home to take care of my mom.
I'm going to be sailing on the Breeze in October.
Yep.
So consider that. I mean, it's a great ship.
Carnival Breeze, yes.
Yep, October 4th. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll look. That gets into my football season schedule, right. So I got to watch that too. All right, Jason, thank you very much for being with me. I do appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Okay. All right, that was Jason Garland and a little chatting about the Carnival Panorama, the Carnival Sunrise, and the Zuiderdam. So that's going to wrap us up for today. All you guys, all the folks that are chatting with us. We got Tom Henry, we got Bonnie, we got Gretchen. Did I say hello to Gretchen? I think I did. Anyway, welcome to one and all. If you're new to this channel and you just popped in to see what's going on, we regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. We have our travel and cruise industry news show 3 days a week at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Our Chillie Chats, like today, are scheduled when I can schedule one. The next one, by the way, is 7:30 tomorrow night with Kyle Falwell, as we get an updated report on the recovery of the Bahamas. So that'll be tomorrow night's subject at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, you can always hit that little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when we go live or the next time we post a video. So that's going to wrap us up for today. Glad you could join us. This is the end of Chillie Chats for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed Chillie Chats and will join us next time as we discuss various facets of the travel and cruise industry. This broadcast was produced by Chillie's Cruises and hosted by me, Chillie Falls.